what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Mango Grove. In today's video, I am going to be putting on a short in the Binance's margin trading exchange. I'm going to show you how to do it, how to go about putting on a short. Like I said in my previous videos, these things, the way Binance has sort of designed their margin trading exchange, it is not as intuitive, okay? Now mind you, I take every trade after I have gone over my risk management system. Alright, so I have a system in place and I implore you to, have a risk management system in place if you are going to be putting on margin trades. Alright, so this is risky business. Make sure you got that pat down. Alright, so let's get into it. I am currently on my margin wallet on the exchange. For those of you who do not know how to set up your wallet or how to transfer funds, I'm going to include links in the description below of the previous two videos that I did on those two very subjects. So go ahead and check that out and make sure you follow the steps, because without going through that, you will not have your margin account up and running. So make sure you have that up and running before trying to put on a short, okay? Cool, so let's get into it. I am currently on my margin wallet. Okay, as you can see, I have no trade on. My margin level is sitting at 999, the maximum low risk margin level your account can go to, okay? I have an account equity of 0.01, and as I have mentioned in my last video, Binance does not make it intuitive. Alright, now you can go about putting on your trades in various ways. You can first borrow, then go and do a technical analysis, then go on and put on your trade, but there are, disadvantages to that. The disadvantage being that while you have already borrowed your funds, you are already accumulating interest on your borrowed funds. Now, you do not want to be paying for, borrowed money that you are not using. You want to make sure that you are putting that money to use, correct? So, like I've mentioned in my previous video, I do not usually borrow from this interface. What I do, and I'm going to do this for my short as well, get onto the exchange, get onto that margin exchange, right? Exchange tab, click on that margin, and we are currently on the Binance's margin trading exchange. Make sure, now remember the drill, guys, remember the drill. There's a drill to this that I'd gone over in my last video. Make sure you have that M selected. That M is basically all the pairs you can trade on margin. Okay, you cannot, not every cryptocurrency on the Binance exchange is offered on its margin exchange. So make sure that M is selected. That way you have the entire list of cryptocurrencies that you can trade on margin. That is the first drill. The second drill, make sure you have that margin tab selected right here. Now, I told you about one of my experiences where I did not have the margin tab selected. I had the exchange tab selected. If you have that tab selected, you are you are going to execute your trade as a spot trade. So you're actually going to buy or sell the underlying cryptocurrency that you are, trying to buy or sell. But you don't want to do that. You want to, put on a leverage trade. So make sure you have that tab selected, and then based on whatever you want a limit order, you want a market order, that's the drill, okay? So make sure you have all those tabs selected. It is important. Binance is fairly new, so sometimes there may be glitches. You do not want to fall victim to one of their glitches, okay? So in the last video I put on a long position. This time I'm going to put on a short position, and I'm pretty much going to pick the same pairing. The last time I picked BAT, right? I picked BAT BTC for my my long. I'm going to pick BAT BTC for my short too. Cool. So here we are, BAT BTC. Now remember, we want to put on a short. And what is a short? You are essentially going to sell the asset now in anticipation for prices to go lower, right? That way you can buy back for a lower price, pay the exchange back, everything else that is left is your profit. Brilliant, but we need to sell that first. But like you saw my wallet, I only have BTC. That is my margin, so based on that margin, I'm going to go ahead and borrow some BAT from the exchange. Now, if you go onto this tab over here, it will tell you how much leverage you can take on the BAT BTC pairing, and I can only take a 3x. All right, now what is our drill? The M right, which we have selected. Great, BAT is on that list. Make sure you have the margin tab selected. And now based on what I want to put on, now I'm going to put on a market order for the sake of demonstration. And yeah, so I have, now remember, we have the mode, right? If you hit that exclamation mark, you'll get a rundown on what each setting means. So you have the normal, borrow, repay. Now we want everything to happen automatically, right? So as soon as we borrow, everything gets executed in real time. You are borrowing funds in real time, and it gets executed at that point. As soon as I hit margin sell BAT, that's when I actually borrow funds. Okay, that's when my interest starts accumulating. And that's why, because I want everything to be automated, I'm going to make sure I have that borrow tab selected. Now, based on, remember, everything is risk management. All right, so now I can borrow a maximum of 695 BAT. From that 695, based on my margin in my account, I'm going to put on a trade for 410. Okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and hit margin sell BAT. And then I get this order confirmation pop-up that says, okay, I'm market selling BAT at market price, amount 410. The order will use 0 BAT in your margin account and will also borrow 410 BAT on your behalf to sell 410 BAT. The loan will have interests. Now go ahead and hit that confirm, right? So as soon as you get that pop-up, we're borrowing some BAT, and I'm going to be like, okay, confirm. Now I have sold. My order just got executed on market. I have sold my BAT, and if you notice, as soon as that sell went through, guys, I now have a total of 0.0217 BTC in my account. I only started with 0.01, but now I have 0.02. That is because of the sell that I just executed. Now I have more BTC based on that sell. And now if you just go onto your margin wallet, okay, let's go ahead and do that. You'll notice that my margin level is at 1.85, okay? I'm still in the green, I am at low risk. For those of you who are watching, well, this particular video, this is the first video you're watching, this margin level is important. Make sure you have your eyes on that at all times. You want to make sure you're in safe zone, right? Anything, if your margin level is past that 1.5, is greater than 1.5, you're fine. As soon as it hits 1.3, okay, you are going to get a margin call. A margin call is basically the exchange asking you to add a little more margin because you may be at risk of getting liquidated. As soon as you hit 1.1, you get liquidated. That means everything in your margin account goes to 0. All right, so now that's been said. Notice that my BTC equity has gone up based on the recent sell that I executed, right? My BTC equity has gone up 0.02 now. And if I just go ahead and search for BAT, I don't have any BAT, but I did borrow 410 BAT. Do you see that? That's 410 BAT, and I have interest accumulating now. I have 0.003 BAT. Okay, the interest is based on the underlying asset that you borrowed. Now, I borrowed BAT, so I am paying interest in BAT. Okay, so that is my interest right now on for my BAT BTC short. And now let's go ahead and, well, close this position out. Now, how do we do that? Like I said, everything, we want to automate everything. We want to make things easy for ourselves, right? So you go back onto your margin exchange, and now essentially we executed a short position. Now I want to close that short, and to close a short position, you want to buy back, right? So I can repay the exchange. So let's go ahead. I am on the wrong pairing right now. Let's go ahead. Make sure you have the right pairing, guys. That is imperative. Don't be blind, okay, in these things. Okay, cool. I am currently on BAT BTC. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, now let's go ahead and close this position. So how do we do that? Remember the drill, guys, and make sure you have the right pairing, right, that you want to close out, BAT BTC. Then the next step is to make sure you have the right tab. You do not want to be on the exchange tab. Make sure you have the margin tab selected. Once that is selected, depending on what you want to execute, a limit order or a market order. For my case, I want to execute a market order. This is a demonstration. And we want to buy back our BAT. And not just buy it back, we also want to repay the exchange, guys. Remember that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit repay. Now, what do we owe them? Now, this is where Binance, I find, is lacking, in that I would like to see the amount of, well, tokens that I borrowed plus the interest. Now, that is not visible to me in plain sight. Perhaps some of you have a different trick to it. I'm going to show you my trick, but if you do have a different trick, or you know where it's located, I am kind of lost on that, mention it in the comments below. Help everyone out, right? So anyways, this is my trick. If I want to know how much I owe back to the exchange, I'm just going to go ahead and hit this borrow button that you'll find on the top right hand side corner of the order card, right? You see that borrow button? Now, nothing happens, by the way, if you just click that button, right? So just go ahead, click that button, and now you have two sort of options on the top. The default option that you'll get is borrow, and the second one on top is repay. Now, to understand how much I owe the exchange, right, so basically how much I borrowed from them plus the interest, I'm going to go ahead and look at this total debt. That's A plus B. A is the interest, and B is, well, what I borrowed. The total that I owe Binance is 410.003416 blah, 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 BAT tokens. Okay, now I'm not going to go ahead, hit that entire thing, but that gives you a good visual of, well, how much you owe the exchange. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to execute a trade for 410 BAT. I'm going to go ahead and execute a trade for 411 BAT. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my order card. I'm going to make sure I have that repay button selected. Remember what the repay means, guys. It means the coin you get after the trade will be automatically used to repay the debt of the same coin in your margin account. So that means as soon as you execute that, Binance takes the BAT that you received and pays the exchange back automatically. You don't have to do anything. So let's go ahead and put this into perspective. So I'm going to go ahead, hit that repay button. I bought my thing at I sold at 2878. I'm going to buy back at 70. Great. Cool. And like I said, I'm going to execute a bid for 411. Now remember, when I sold, okay, I only borrowed 410, but I'm doing 411 to account for interest. I'm going to say buy BAT. Now remember, I'm on the repay, guys, repay. 411, I'm going to say buy BAT. Now this is the order confirmation pop-up that I got. It says the BAT you get will be used to repay the BAT debt in your margin account. Interest will be repaid first. All right, so BAT BTC, market buy, price, market, amount 411. Confirm. And boom. Now let's go back onto our margin wallet. Now if you go back onto the margin wallet, what do we want to see? We essentially want to see that margin level back at 999, because what that essentially is telling you is that, hey, there are no trades open. You are at the maximum low risk margin level you can be at, which is 999. Now let's go ahead and really sort of verify, well, did it really get executed properly? Am I all SAFU? Are my funds SAFU? So go onto your BTC. Now I sort of lost a bit, which is okay. The trade, I exited the trade at a profit. However, guys, there's interest and stuff that needs to be accounted for, but it was negligible, a loss. Remember, I started 0.01 BTC. However, I have my funds back in my wallet, right? That's my BTC. But now let's go on to our BAT, because remember, we borrowed BAT. So I want to make sure, okay, that the funds that I borrowed have now indeed been paid back. And not just the funds that I borrowed, I want to make sure that the interest is paid back as well. So let's go and look for our BAT BTC pairing to make sure that all our funds, everything that we borrowed, has indeed been paid back. And has it? Yes, it has. Remember, on the last time we checked, when we had our trade on, it was at 410. That's how much I borrowed. It's now sitting at 0. Okay? And interest, well, interest is also at 0. Our total balance over here is 0.5 BAT. That is the dust amount I had to execute for that much. Now, you don't have to do the same thing, although I'm not entirely sure if, well, Binance allows you to execute decimals, and that's where they really, really catch you, right? So yeah, make sure you're accounting for all these like nitty-gritty things, I guess. But this is my dust amount. Now I'm gonna go ahead and transfer it into, well, my my exchange wallet. That way I can take it from there and convert it into, well, BNB, which you can use for your fees, But yeah, this is it for now, guys. Now that was our short position. Now if you go back, if you just go back to your wallet, all your funds are SAFU, right? I have my BTC equity. I have no trade on. My margin level is back at 999. There is no trade on right now. Account equity, total debt. Oh, by the way, you can see a total debt here. Actually, I didn't know that. I didn't see this the first time. Like, it's so tiny, eh? But yeah, my total debt is 0. BTC 0. I do not owe the exchange anything. I am clear. Now that is how you execute your short automatically, like how you would do it on, well, other margin trading exchanges like BitMEX, Bitfinex. You do not want to go through the hassle of first hitting borrow, okay, then doing your technical analysis, or even if you did your technical analysis, you hit borrow, okay, then you go on to your exchange, cool, then you make sure you do the drill of M, make sure you have the margin tab, make sure you have everything selected, then go on to find your pairing, okay, let's say Atom BTC, whatever. Then look at price, then enter your numbers. Dude, your trade is gone, okay? That's too much time wasted when you're trying to put on a margin trade. Every dollar counts here. So, yeah, make sure you're doing it the automatic way. Remember, if you are putting on your trade, you want to borrow, so make sure you have that mode, guys. That mode is extremely important. Make sure when you're putting on your trade, you have that borrow selected, that everything happens real time that way. And then when you are settling your trade or you are closing your trade, make sure you have that repay mode selected. That way, as soon as you execute your trade, okay, the exchange gets paid back automatically, not just what you borrowed, but the interest as well. Now, the order in which that happens is that as soon as the trade gets executed, they first pay back your interest. That's the first thing that goes out, okay, your interest. Then it's the principal, basically what you borrowed, okay, then that gets paid back, and then you get to keep your profits. So it goes in that order. Remember that. Now, I executed the entire thing, right? When I closed my position, I closed the entire position. Now, some of you may not want to do that. Some of you may only want to close part of it. But you need to know how well the settlement really takes place, in what order it takes place. So first, the interest gets paid back, then what you borrowed, and then whatever's left goes into your wallet. Those are your profits, your losses, whatever. Okay, now that's yours to keep, that's yours to do, whatever the hell you want to do with it. And yeah, this is it for the margin short position on the Binance exchange. Now, I want to keep this series as, well, simple as possible. Yeah, I'm going to end this Binance margin trading series over here. So a quick recap on what we went over. Now, remember, guys, I'm going to add, well, all the links to all the other previous videos in the description below. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. Okay, so what did we go over, guys? How to first open up your margin trading account on Binance. It isn't already open for you, so you have to do that manually on your own. You have to agree to the terms and the conditions of the Binance exchange. Second video was me showing you how to transfer funds. Third one was all the miscellaneous items that you need to know in terms of how much leverage you can take on the Binance exchange. Now, apparently that has changed very recently. I believe yesterday. I believe some pairs now can go all the way up to 5x. So something to keep in mind. Well, I showed you things of the margin level, right, on the miscellaneous video. My fourth video in the series is the long position that we took on the BAT-BTC pairing, and this is the last video, the short position, also on the BAT-BTC pair. So yeah, this is going to be it for this this series. However, if some of you want me to cover stop losses and OCO orders and how you go about kind of setting those on your longs as well as your shorts, just shoot me a comment in the comment section below, and I will do a video